I'm living a movie, not living by rules. It's just a movie, don't lose your cool.
Hi everyone, it's Chris from MovieTrailerReviews.net with the first preview clip for the MTR Premium Network. This is the preview for CBBC number 1, CBBC special number 1, for Uber 1 through 22 that I did with Rod from the Black Guy Who Tips. And in this first clip, we're going to basically talk about where Uber is set in World War II and kind of a little bit about how Hitler is portrayed and the setting, and it just kind of sets the tone for how you're going forward with this book. So please check out the clip, and we'll go from there. It literally takes place Hitler's sitting there in the bunker with I think a gun
in his mouth,
right in his mouth, about to blow away his brain next to Ava Braun, and he's like, oh yeah, we're winning now. You know, it's such a great thing because, like I said, if you follow the history of World War II, there's just after a while the Allies take over and it's pretty much a wrap. You know, Hitler was actually really bad at leading an army. They won for a while, but after a while and even that plays a little bit into what you get into later issues with Uber. And it's great. The one guy, what was the name of the scientist? Sank or something like that? What's his name?
Yeah, Sank.
Yeah, he had promised these Ubermen to Hitler, and he just held on to him,
because he knew Hitler was a dumbass.
Right, and so it's again, if you study history, you know how dumb Hitler really was in doing this. So Sank's thing is, if I explained to him that we had these, he would have thrown them away, and it wouldn't have mattered. So Sank kind of held on to him until the last possible minute, then unleashes them on the Allies and starts winning victory after victory. And and his whole thing was, Hitler was too stupid to do this. And Hitler actually has him killed because of that. But he knew that was going to happen.
Dude, that speech he gave Hitler before he got killed was so epic, where he basically called him an Austrian, he said an Austrian peasant.
Right.
He said, hey, you got lucky on two things. You had the only country that had Austrian steel and a nation full of idiots.
In this next clip, Rod and I talk a little bit about race, and inevitably, when you talk about World War II, you would think that at some point they would have to deal with race, and this book actually does that a little bit. And just check out the clip where we talk about it.
He's like, for a while I've been wanting to write about race, because I feel like we're pretty progressive with women. We have essentially 3 women leads to this book. It's but we really haven't had any people. We had the Japanese thing, whose story we will return to, and it's but we really hadn't had any black people in it. So I was talking with my artist, and we was like, yeah, why not? Now's a good time. So now you got a black story going.
Yeah, and there's some. First of all, when you first get the black guy, and what happens to him, you're because he's a battleship potential. You're yeah. And then what happens at that tone, you're you assholes. I was this motherfucker better not be dead, yo.
Dog.
I was you asshole. It was an asshole movie.
Immediately? Really? Right? Immediately?
Yo, I kind of feel like they knew what they were doing with that, too. It's yeah, got a black guy. You know he's going to die first, right?
Yeah. I love how that black dude still had to deal with racism.
Oh, my goodness. The racism. Yo, when you find out, it's racism, and then you kind of go, he's well, if I was white during this time, I probably wouldn't do it either. Would you really want a fully maxed out
Negro has all these fucking reasons to kill y'all niggas?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I can understand this.
Yeah. I mean, just the concept that they talk about are just so, they thought about them so much. For a while I had been thinking so when a tank man dies or gets injured on the battlefield, we know that to kill them you need an industrial drill. But to heal them, what do you do with that? And then they have a whole issue about using one of the other this woman as a tank that was a tank man to heal the other ones that helped them do surgery by using her halo effect.
And And in this final clip, I talked with Rod about how interesting it would be if this book goes, which we think is the next inevitable step, which is actually bringing the war to the American soil. You know, this is something that didn't happen really in World War II, but when you add in these superhumans, it seems like the next logical step when you really think about where we are in history and the changes that have come when you have these supermen and superwomen. It would make sense that somehow the war would come to American soil. So we talked a little bit about how it would be interesting to see that addressed. I'm waiting for this to now enter into hitting the United States, because it has to.
It has to, man.
Because
like that's the next thing, is because everything's happening over there. But like, if you had the ability to attack the United States back then, you know they would have, and it wouldn't have just been Japan by themselves attacking Pearl Harbor, bringing us into it. But like, after the war started, if Japan could have found a way back over here, you know they would have. Well, now that they have the nuke and we don't, you know what I mean? They have Tankman. Like, they could do some. They could they could do anything.
Right. And so, and it's like, it opens this world up to you that you can now explore and be like, well, yeah, you know, we know Germany and the Axis powers and all of them wanted to actually hit the United States mainland, and they couldn't before. But now, what's stopping them? Like, you know what this reminds me of so much? It really reminds me of like a comic book version of Wolfenstein. Like, especially like the last Wolfenstein that came out, where it's like Germany actually won the war and took over the United States and stuff like that. It's so much of that. And it's just, it's such an interesting thing to see, man. I've really been enjoying this. And like I said, I highly recommend this. So this is just a small sample of the discussion Rod and I had. For the full episode, you can sign up for the MTR Premium Network by going to movietrailerreviews.net. Click on MTR Premium Network in the header. The monthly subscription plan is as low as $8 a month. And you'll be able to get the Combo Book Club, Hell No Cupid, The Plain Dead, Reminiscing with Kriss, and more. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, we're out here. Peace.
Get your act together. My life's a movie. I leave you in that act forever.
My life's like a movie. My life's like a movie. My life's like a movie.